So you'll recall from last episode that we found this sunken ship here. It's carrying a bunch of lapis lazuli, iron blocks, and yeah, it was obviously in some type of disaster since it's now sitting on the bottom of the ocean. You can see some of its cargo splayed out here. We got iron blocks, we got lapis lazuli. Parts of the ship are missing. They're basically blown out. And a lot of you guys were asking me, how did this ship get here? What caused it to sink? And where did it come from? And so, I actually found a document that's going to help us out here. So I found the captain's log. So, it's my hope that by reading this captain's log to you guys, we can follow along in the final journey of this ship and see what happened to it. So, let's begin. So, it looks like the last port of call for this ship was Zerzera, so I'm actually starting out here. And we're going to try to retrace the steps of this final voyage. So, let's start to read. Captain's log, Day 1. Headed out of Port Zerzera today, carrying abundant supplies of iron and lapis lazuli for the Guardian farm. We must make good time to make our deadline. Captain's log, Day 2. We have cleared Zerzera's docks and are heading into the swamp. The rivers are winding here. We ran aground on an embankment this afternoon, and the hull sustained some damage. Only minor breach. We travel on. Captain's log, Day number 3. We passed the lighthouse today. Likely our last glimpse of any meaningful civilization until we reached the Guardian farm. We had to use the lighthouse to guide us across the sea toward the Grand Canal of the North. Day 4. We made great speed through the Great Canal today. To our surprise, we found it to be well lit and had no trouble navigating its waters. Captain's log, Day 5. We made it to the Eastern Ocean. We are making good time thus far. Not a speck of land in sight. Captain's log, Day 6. We encountered our first bad storm today. The seas were high. Swells 10 meters or more battered our ship. We are barely holding on as we ride out the storm. We lost some cargo and a cannon so far. Captain's log, Day 7. We survived the storm, but our vessel is looking like it has been through a war. There is a breach in the cargo bay. We tried to patch it, but we could not contain it entirely. We had to stop when we reached the desert strait. I fear we will lose a day to do repairs on the hull. Captain's log, Day 8. Yep, we lost a day. All day in the hot desert waiting for ship repair. We had to travel to a nearby village to gather supplies in the morning, then return to do actual repairs at night. So dang hot in the desert, I don't know how the inhabitants of the desert villages can stand the heat and sun. Day 9, we are back on the move again. The crew is in high spirits as we make our way forward. The ship seems to be tilting somewhat to one side, but she is making good speed. We are passing through the wooded strait now. This is the final strait until we reach the open ocean. Captain's log, Day number 10. We have reached the Great Southern Ocean and are traveling full steam ahead to the Guardian farm. On an unrelated note, I saw a seagull poop on villager number 20's head today. The crew had a good laugh at that one. Captain's log, Day 11. While in the middle of the ocean, we came across a giant billboard. Whomever had the idea to put that there is an idiot. We barely avoided it as it was not marked on our admittedly outdated maps. Other than that, nothing new or exciting to report. Overcast skies all day. Captain's log, Day 12. With help from the trade winds, we have rounded the Cape of Good Luck. The seas are choppier down here than in other regions, so I have put a lookout on duty at all times to spot any other errant billboards we may need to avoid. Captain's log, Day 13. We stopped in the quaint village of Hammersmith today to pick up some supplies. Beautiful city with a rich history and ancient desert temple. I shall visit here again one day. Captain's log, Day 14. We encountered our first iceberg of the trip today as we are now passing a cold biome. Strangely, this is positioned right next to a mesa biome. Weird how that works, huh? Anyway, the lookout did his job and we avoided the icebergs without incident. Also, some wild wolves appeared on the shore and howled at us. Kind of an eerie feeling in the darkness. Captain's log, Day 15. Having avoided most of the icebergs the previous day, today was clear sailing until around sunset when it began to rain. I hope that this rain does not persist until tomorrow when we're scheduled to unload at the Guardian farm. The seas are scary enough around that thing as it is. Captain's log, Day 16. The rain has persisted and a storm has begun. This has made docking with the Guardian farm impossible. We must dock with the Guardian farm and unload our cargo by noon tomorrow, or we will not be paid. If this storm doesn't let up, it'll be nearly impossible. Captain's log, Day 17. All hope is lost. We attempted a morning docking at the Guardian farm in this ferocious storm. All was going well until a huge swell hit us on the port side. This ruptured the repaired hole in the cargo bay from the previous storm. We are now taking on water at an alarming rate. I just hope we can keep her afloat long enough to attempt another docking at first light. And then unfortunately, Day 18 Captain's log was never entered. Neither was Day 19, Day 20, all the way on No More Captain's Log. So it's safe to assume that sometime between the 17th day and the 18th day, the ship sunk beneath the sea, and here it has remained ever since. So now you guys know what happened to the ship, how it got here, a combination of bad weather and bad luck. And also, here is a photo of the path through the world it took. So, yeah, thanks to the Captain's Log, we can recreate that. So, pretty cool.